Alright, time for the solutions for finding angles in triangles sheet here. So some of the basic things you remember, all the angles add to 180, and we'll talk about the other one when it shows up, but that's the basic for all these. Like all those angles there need to add up to 180. So really, if you want to get this question mark here, you just take 180, and you subtract 65, and you subtract 57, and that's going to give you your answer. And here, let me figure it out real quick. Alright, so I got 58 degrees on that one, so that one is going to be the question mark for the first one. And remember, do show your work on these. So on number 2, I got to subtract that 40-degree angle there, and that right angle. That's 90 degrees, by the way. And when you do that, you're going to get 50 degrees. That's a degree symbol, and that should be a 5. Okay, so there's going to be the answer for that one. This one, again, just take your 180, subtract your 130, subtract 20. Make sure you do them in consecutive order. So 180 minus 30 will give you 50, then minus the 20, it'll give you 30 for that one. And then on 4, take your 180, subtract 85, and then subtract 50. That's going to give you, I believe it's 45. Here, let me double check real quick. Yeah, that's what I thought. So if you really need to, you can use calculators. I am, just because it's helping me speed up the process and making this video a little bit more coherent. On these ones, something to remember is that those lines, these adjacent angles, they're a linear pair. So this angle plus that angle there add up to be 180. So if you take 180 e minus 137, you'll get your angle there, which happens to be 43, and this is where the other theorem comes into play. These two angles equal this one, so if you add these two angles together, you'll get this question mark one. So a question mark is going to be, that's a hideous question mark. Question mark equals 43 plus 102, which is going to give you 145 degrees. So that's your question mark there. On 6, remember that when you got two intersecting lines, the opposite angles are congruent. So this angle here is 35. These two added together gives you that angle. 100 plus 35 is going to give you 135 for your angle there, for your question mark angle there. And on this one, you just need to figure out this angle here, because these two angles are congruent because they're vertical angles. So you just take 180, subtract off the 30, subtract off the 20. You're going to get the magical angle of 130 degrees. And that's going to be your question mark. And on this last one here, remember that these add up to be 180. So if you want this angle, you just take 180 minus 155. You'll get 25 degrees. So that's that angle. And these two angles add up to be that question mark. That's the exterior angle theorem. So 25 plus 60 gives you 85 degrees, and that's our question mark there. Moving on to the next one. Quickly remember that these are vertical angles, and these all have to add up to be 180. So when you get this angle, and that'll give us the other angle there, and once we have those, we can figure out our question mark. So notice on these ones later on, you have to figure out some angles and get a pathway towards your question mark. So this is our starting in on that. 20 plus 40 adds up to be 60, so really you can take 180 and minus the 60. That'll give you 120. That is that angle, which is the same as the angle above it. And so to get this angle, we just need to take 180 minus that 120 angle and minus the 39 angle. That's going to give you 21, I believe. Yes, 21. And so that's going to be our final answer there. That's our question mark. On 10, again, you got to figure out using your angle properties what these are. In order to get this guy, you need to have this angle or this angle I mean, you need to have this angle, these two angles, or those two angles to figure it out. Why don't we just get these two angles, and then we'll figure out the question mark from there. In order to get that, you need to have this angle here. Well, all the angles in a triangle add up to be 180, so take your 180 and subtract off the 65, subtract off the 60. That's going to give you, here, let me punch it in real quick. That's going to give you 55. So 55 goes right there. 55 plus 50 is 105. And that's going to make this last angle here, well, you take 180, 80 minus the 105. You're going to get 75. So this angle here is 75, which means we can use those two angles to get the last one, because all the angles had to add up to be 180. So take 180 minus off the 35, minus off the 75. You're going to get the magical number of 70 degrees for your question mark. And we're going to stop there.